in borrowed rooms, to the magazines that carry their truth. 25 years of the same steady hand, finding the ones who fell through the cracks of the plan. From Mitcham to Croydon, from London to the world, every flag he planted said, you matter, you're heard, but there's a man who finds you in the quiet.
Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are. I'm Leslie Rose, and I'm joining from my farm in New Brunswick, Canada. Before we start, couple things. One, this is the first of 12 events. Every event is free. Every event becomes a chapter in the book that we're writing together, Famous on Purpose. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're here because Annie or I invited you personally, thank you for showing up. Let me hand to Annie, who is joining from Cornwall.
I am joining from the back end of Cornwall. That's where I live at best of times. I did move around the country, so it's nice, to be honest. It's great to be doing this room with you, Leslie. Of course it is. It really is. I love a new room. I love our topics. I love talking about marketing. I love giving our friends solutions that we know definitely work. Of course, our topic today is, it's hugely personal to me. It is one of those topics that I love to talk about because I think, fame, getting famous, it's a thing that I think we all need, right? Most people see business as creating solutions, which it is. Of course it is. But before I crack on, let me welcome. Say, Josh, I see you. How you doing, Josh? So if you're here, so do make comments. Linda, I see you too. Welcome, Linda. Linda's all the way in Canada. And Linda's writing a book as we speak. Linda, don't forget our catch up tomorrow with Christina. So hopefully we'll see you there. So anyway, so Josh is here as well. So, well, if you're here, please do say hi. If you don't say anything, then I will never know to welcome you properly. Only when you say something that in the comments that I can see your name. Otherwise, we just see a number. There's numbers of people here. Right now, so let's now this getting famous thing. I think it is so important. It is. It's central to all we do, right? So many people will focus on creating a solution. Like I said, they want to create something good. Josh creates beautiful music. I know Linda does. Linda helps people who experience trauma, and that's I guess it's a form of therapy without being officially therapy. It's a place to talk through your feelings and find a way forward, right? I'm saying that's great. But unless people know who you are, they're not gonna come to you for help.
Mm-hmm.
And I say we think it's about getting seen. We think it's about doing posts. We think it's about people seeing us on TikTok dancing. That's not what marketing is. Marketing is a whole different thing. Marketing is about helping people with the problems they have, right? And it's about getting across the message that we can help you, and getting seen is only one small part. If no one sees you, they'll never come to you, but I think in reality, good marketing that works, marketing that brings you clients, it's about getting famous. It is about being seen by the right people, the people that you will not exist to serve. Now, anyone who knows me, and I've been on this will make you famous thing for the last 10 years, 11 years now. And I've been told so many times to change it. I don't change it because I know it is the truth. Here's why being famous is so important, my friend. See, when I started in marketing in 2000, it's in the early days of the internet, the very early days of the internet, much like where we are now with AI. I think this was one of the first 5,000 e-commerce companies in the UK at the time, right? I had all this vision that everyone was gonna, have an equal playing field. You and I could sell as much as the big companies online. But over the years, through the people I worked with in marketing, I realized that people would come to us. They come to our website. They'll come to us. They might see us on social, and they know what we do. Even if you sell products, and so many products, companies I worked with, people clicked on the website, they click on the link, they click on whatever, right? And then they look at it and they go, that looks nice. And then they click away. They go to Amazon and buy the thing anyway. They go to the people, the big boys, the people who are famous, right? And that drives me crazy. Hence, my mission has been for the last, say, 11 years to make people famous. Famous means so many things. It means that people see you for who you are, for what you do. They see you for what makes you unique. They see you for how you can help them. They see you for the real you. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't want to be famous, I'll say it's fine. It's not fine. We hope. I hope that you will see sense. And famous is not by. Yes, I want to make you a celebrity. I want to put you on TV, radio, magazines. Of course, I do. I want to make you a household name. There's reasons for that, which we'll explain over the coming weeks. But for today, just let's get our head around why Annie and Leslie say you need to be famous. Leslie's going to share some of the ways to get famous, because there's parts to this now to what we're going to try and share with you as the weeks go on. But let me let Leslie set the scene for our program for the next 12 weeks. Well, 24 weeks, split into 12 sessions, right?
Yeah.
Leslie, I'll give it to you.
12 sessions, 24 weeks.
Indeed.
Yeah, you said, just being famous because you want to see your name in the lights. That's not what we're talking about. Each and every one of us has something that we can help other people with. And unless we get our names out there and our solution to the problem out there, those people need our help to find us. That's why becoming famous is so important, so that the people that need your help can find you. So this is the thesis. This is what we're introducing in this meeting, and Annie will tell you why it matters from a publishing and a LinkedIn lens. And then we'll do a case study each and take your questions live and give you one piece of homework before the next event, which is in a couple of weeks. But actually, we just decided to give you another piece of homework before we even start. And that is to pull up Google or pull up ChatGPT and say, who is Leslie Rose? Who is Annie Osang? Who is Linda Mayer? And just see what comes back for you. So if you guys could all just take a minute and do that quickly, and that is going to be basically your starting line. So whatever information that you have in there right now, you could go ahead and tell us, share it in the chat, even if you want to screenshot it and add your screenshot to the chat, that would be great. And that doing here is, so when someone says, who is so-and-so, then the AI will give the full picture. And that's why creating your own personal brand and becoming famous is important. You have to be able to control the results that go out there. That's the biggest thing. Because if you're not the one controlling the results of what happens when someone Googles, who is Leslie Rose, then there could be a bunch of misinformation out there as well. So that's another really important thing. So the thesis in one sentence is personal branding is no longer optional. Every decision a buyer, a reader, or a client makes about working with you now starts with a search. And that search is increasingly answered by AI. So if Google and ChatGPT cannot confidently match you to the person you're meant to help, that person will never find you. So we'll break it down. The new funnel has 3 judges: humans, Google, and AI assistants. And when I say AI assistants, I'm meaning ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Copilot, Gemini, Google AI, whichever one that you've started to use or that you're using right now, that is your AI assistant. And then 2 of the 3 judges are getting stricter every month. So search engines and AI models reward consistency of your entity signal, and they punish inconsistency. So another thing that we're going to be talking about today is defining exactly who you help and how you help them. And that's what our homework is going to be based on. But a cold introduction has never been worth less in this world. And you guys know that. I mean, you're interacting with people on LinkedIn and they're sending you, DMs, but you don't know who they are. You have no relationship with them, and it's meaningless. And the pre-AI playbook, which is the cold outreach, the ads, and the cold DMs, they convert at a fraction of what they used to, because buyers check you out first and they find a thin trail. So this is what we're trying to avoid. People that hear about you or want to know more about you, and then they Google you and there's no depth. That is the big problem. So what buyers find is a judgment. And if the judgment is, I'm not sure who this person is, or if this person is with nothing to say, you're out before you even knew you were in. So what do? You decide to get famous on purpose for the specific people you were put on this planet to serve. And this is the whole book in one sentence. And I'll let you take it over, Annie.
You can see Leslie is keeping it on the straight and narrow, right? Look, come and share, my friends. Come and share with us. The link to join the studio is in the comments. So if you want the link, it's definitely there. Otherwise, I have shared the link on here. Let me find it. So from the chat, you have to copy the link into your browser. From the comment section, you can just click on the link. You can join the studio. If you want to send the link to your DM, then please, just put in the chat here. Don't DM me because I won't see it, right? So now put in the chat here. And you send me the link, then I'll send you the link. Coach Carrie, I see you. Go.
I see Levi's here. Hello,
yeah.
Levi.
There's more people for sure. So Coach Carrie is here. Hope I get to Levi. So Christina, again, another AI visibility genius. Now, Christina and I do a show on Mondays. We do our side hustle to business room, and we're talking about this as well. And again, of course, Christina and I are doing a masterclass on how to be found how to be discoverable in modern search. I mean, there must be a God. There must be a God, Leslie, right? Because Annie is on a mission to help authors sell books. Yes, we publish books. I publish books, and I want to publish a lot more books. But I always tell my friends, Leslie, that the world is about finding the X factor. That's what makes a business. The X factor is the solution people really want, right? It's a missing thing. My luck is, AI is here. Everyone's talking about it. But Annie's thinking, how do we use this to really build our business? It's not about doing pictures necessarily, but it is about finding the way to turn our visibility, our clicks into revenue, into customers, right? And then I meet you, and and thankfully, you have the technical skills to make us visible on AI. When I say AI, my friends, don't be thinking the agents only. Google's AI. If you're not visible on Google, then you're not visible anywhere, really. I'm saying you can be visible on Google, But the difference again, which Christina bangs on about rightly, is that those agents, those AI tools work by a simple formula. Answer the question, answer engine optimization. So Christina talks about this now. I guess the human side of being visible on AI tools, and Leslie does the technical side of being visible on AI tools, right? So I feel like I'm blessed to have both of you in my life and in my business. Yay! I actually enjoy it. That gives me joy. It gives me true joy. But I'll come back to that. Christina says there's a massive difference between being seen and being found by the right person at the right time. So true, Christina. So true. By speaking to the internal pillar, you move away from generic content towards high intent insights. I tell you, my friends, it took me a while to understand, but thanks to my my two friends, Christina's not new. Thanks to my two friends, and I realize what the missing gap is. And if you listen to us close enough the next few weeks, if you come to the masterclass on the 27th of May, then you really will begin to understand, how to truly move from creating good content to be creating the right content that helps your audience. That's you can as much as you want to hide away, it's not going to work. You can't hide. Joshua, how are you doing? Great to see you. I feel blessed that you're here. I see Dr. Lisa, our menopause genius, is here as well. And also, of course, Frank, you're here. And I say Frank created the first AI bot that I ever heard of a good 2 years ago now. It was ahead of the game, really. So, and I'm glad you're here, Frank. AI, you told us it was coming, Frank, and we didn't listen, but now, of course you were right. It's gonna be everything. But listen, let me come back to this get famous thing, right? So, over the years, when I say we make you famous, the first thing people say to me, Leslie, is, I don't want to be famous. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't want to be famous. I just want to do what I do. I'm like, right, you're missing the point. No, you're missing the point, right? You see,
I think
go on, Leslie.
I was just going to say, I think people think that wanting to become famous is sort of a self,
Yeah,
something for them.
yeah,
And so they don't want to be famous for themselves. But what we're trying to say is,
an ego. They're thinking that's about
yeah,
singing and
exactly.
being a star. Yeah, but you want to be a star. Here's why. Look, now being famous is not about you; it's about your customers, right?
Yes, that's the thing. And if you think of it from that perspective, from that lens, it doesn't feel as selfish.
But that is the only lens. I don't understand any other lens. This is a problem, right? So let's take people who are famous on TV, our celebrities that we know, right? They're doing what they do. They're putting on a show for you to watch their film. Let's be sure. They're putting on a show for you to support their brands and buy from the brands that they support, the brands that pay them to promote products, right? And I think that there's, but each person who's famous has a heart, Leslie. They're human, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, is that heartbeat I want us to take away from here, which is being famous. Look, no one's going to buy from you if you're not famous. Like I said, if you miss the very beginning, I've done marketing for years, and I've done the whole run ads for someone. We do it every day. My own marketers do this every day, right? We run ads for someone. People click on the ads. You have to pay per click most ads that we do these days, right? Whether it's on Facebook or on Google. People click on the ads. You get 1,000 clicks to the website, and no one buys. I'm well aware that some of it might be the website, because we do have to improve the website sometimes. But at best of times, what people think, they think, oh, I need that when they see the ad. They click on it and then they go to the website and they're like, oh, that looks good, but I don't know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't buy. They go somewhere else and buy somewhere else. Damn, it's so frustrating, right? This is what's been now. So when I say be famous, I mean get the people that you want to serve to know, like, and trust you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, Les. It's not a trick, That's why I say there's only one way to look at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you're not famous for what you do, for who you are, you know, you're playing small, and you can't help anyone. Again, look, I've worked with too many clients who do great things, like you all do, but they can't
Mm-hmm.
sell. They can't get customers online because they're just not known enough by the audience that they want to serve, right?
Yeah.
I can give you examples of people that we work with, and you might get an idea what it really means to get famous. Let's say let's talk about Paulette, right? Paulette is my perfect human, my perfect client, my perfect guinea pig, because Paulette, she lives the principles that we believe, and the principles that make you famous, the principles that truly work. And that's why I love Paulette to death, because literally, she doesn't say, "Oh, I don't want to be seen," "Oh, I don't want to do the work." She's all in, and we see the results. Look, I'm sure most of you here know about Jack and Walter books, Paulette's books.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so when Paulette and I started, literally say what was it, a couple of years ago now. Now she just came on LinkedIn. A few connections, a few friends, and just her thing was just to try and sell books, the Jack and Walter books, which someone else published. Lucky me, I got to republish the first one, and then publish the next two books. See, but the books, they're good, they're there, right? But you know that Paulette is doing the thing that it takes to become visible and become well known. See, the thing she's doing is nothing more than we all have to do. Again, Leslie, you and I were talking earlier. I said to you, you have to be all in with this thing, this way I'm saying of being. Being famous, number one, it means approaching your target audience, people that you're here to serve, with kindness. But kindness can work in many ways. Kindness can be just be lovely and compassionate to people that exist to serve. That's a no-brainer, right? Even if you don't empathize or understand or care about your clients, then why would they care about you? So being kind is the first part of being there. But then again, being kind also means serving the people you're here to serve. See, the reason we're in business, all of us, Leslie, is because we have a solution to a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless we have to embrace this idea of it is kind of me to serve someone. It's kind of me to publish someone's book, because without me publishing a book, they'll stay stuck. They'll stay in this world of, I can't publish my book. What do I do now? I can't afford to pay a big publisher. What do I do now, right? So to not want to serve them is essentially robbing someone of the help that we can give them. Kindness is about being kind. I say this, being famous about being kind first and foremost. And so, beyond being kind, you have to do the work. You have to be seen in the right places, helping those people that you want to help. You see,
Yeah.
go on. I think that's just one part, Leslie.
We all have help to give.
Yes.
And so the secret is matching the help that we have to give with the people
Mm,
that need that help.
exactly. That's
And
what real kindness is, right?
yeah, and that's why it's so important.
Mm, I agree.
It's
And I
almost like
totally agree.
we should feel responsible to become famous. so that the
Yes,
people that need our help can find us and get the help that they need.
yes, 100%. No, I think anything else will be robbing the world. It will be denying ourselves who we really are. Now, a lot of people thought about, no, what does it mean to be authentic? Being authentic means serving with your gifts, your God-given gifts. That's my belief, anyway. So,
Mhm.
you can, if you've got a different belief, again, come and share it with us. I'll happily listen and learn from other people. So, welcome a true superstar amongst us. And I love Linda Gray because I used to watch her TV programs when I was young. If you don't know who she is, then Google her. You soon find out who Linda Gray is, right? A true superstar. Welcome. I haven't seen you for a long time, Adam. I haven't seen you for a long, long time, but you're here. You've made my day. Thank you so much for joining us. See, right timing. See, there is a God, right? See, we're talking about being famous, Linda, and you show up right at this juncture, right? I've sat there before, Linda, because I know you do a lot of work to help communities to raise money for community farming projects, especially right these days. And I'm thinking, if I had the fame you had, Linda, if I was on TV, on radio, in television, if I was like, that's real fame, right? Apparently not. Apparently not. I'm sure now, Linda, I'd love to sit down one day and talk with you, so you can fill me in and help me to learn something, about what fame really looks like. Because I have a vision of fame to make people household names. That's the point, right? But I think Leslie, I think there's two types of fame, right? I think that there's the fame of to the people who you serve, which I
Mhm.
think that's a necessary prerequisite to run a business. That's why I say it's your mission. You have to get known by the people who you're here to serve. Like for all the reasons we've said so far. If they don't know you, you can't help them. They can't come to you. They won't trust you with their money. They won't trust you with their time, right? With their problem. There's the other fame, which is having people who you don't serve know about you as well. You know, because you need when the rest of the world knows you as well, the other people who you don't serve. Now they can then recommend you to their friends and families and their connections to the network. And referrals is a big part of business. I built a business based on referrals. It's my clients refer me, and the people that I work with refer me. You here refer me to your friends, right? So that's the other. So it's not just about being famous to your target audience. I think you need to think wider. Those who support them, those who are related to them, also need to be able to help. To know who you are. To say, go to any publishes books. Any does. Go to Leslie. Leslie does visibility on a scale that you've never seen before, right? So I'm saying that we need to have more than one fame strategy. That's the thing, right? We can't just do one. We can't just be. My events talk to you, my friends. It talks to those on LinkedIn. The point is that there are other people who are not on LinkedIn who need our services. We
Mhm.
need to get famous to them too. We do. There's no way around it, right? Look, here's the reality that we need to embrace and take away from today. I hope that you have done that search that we talked about. Now, who is you? Who is your name? On whether you do it on AI agent or even on Google. Ask the question: who is you? What are you known for? What are you famous for? Really, this is a question I'm asking you, right? Ask the search engines because I say there's people on socials who might know some of us, but there's another 8 billion people who are not on LinkedIn who may not know who we are. How do we reach them? This is a technical thing, so I'll leave that with you for a second. Let me welcome Dr. Roxana. Welcome, Prof. How are you doing? It was great to see you. Thank you for joining us, our maths genius. Hopefully, just YouTube pays her, so they must know she's a maths genius and a finance genius as well. Anyway, so Leslie, look, there's a technical side to all this conversation, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I don't want to bore everybody with the actual technical aspects of it. What I want to explain is that well, I guess I should start with Google and ChatGPT. So the whole goal of this is to be recommended by Google and ChatGPT. So you want to be recommended by the people that are on this call with us right now. That's kind of like on a personal level. But we also want to be recommended by Google and by ChatGPT. And so what that means is we have to make our websites speak the same language that Google and ChatGPT are speaking. And it's code. It's like, do you guys know what code is? The code that makes your I know, and people don't. So how can you even just understand that your website must speak the same language that Google and ChatGPT are speaking. And it's not the words that we write. It's not all this beautiful copywriting that you can actually see and read on people's websites. It's behind the website. It's the code behind the website that has this language in it. So that is what I'm doing.
You see, now, Leslie, when you explain it like that, I think it's easy to think you're just talking. I thought you were just talking. I thought another SEO person, another website person. But I was talking to Christina. I just happened to talk to Christina 2 days after we started working together properly, and you created my entity home, my personal website is what it's called. Right? I'm like, why do I need a personal website, Leslie? I don't need one. I want a business website. I've got a business website already. She's like,
I said, I already have a website.
Like, trust me, just leave this to me, right? Leave this to me. I'm like, okay, fine. Right. And then, so I was talking to Christina, and Christina was like, do a search for yourself. Just do a search for yourself. And I'm like, I'm 51. I've never done a search for myself. I don't need to. I know what Google thinks of me, I think. No, I don't really. I know, because I do so much on Google. I've done blogs, I've done the website stuff. I think Google knows me. Then you realize they really don't, and ChatGPT, I thought, I won't be there, so forget it, right? Christina was like, no, and you get on with it, just do it. I'm like, no, you do it. And she did. I think she did it on Gemini. That's Google's AI, right? And it told her who I was. I was a bit disappointed. I thought, at least I'm there, because I think when we do a search on Google, Leslie, we expect to have loads of pages of our stuff, all my events, all my blogs, all my posts. I'm saying stuff, right? We think it's all there, but it's not.
You think it would be there, though. You're absolutely right. You think it would be there. But the problem is it's not it's not speaking the right language. It's so important to speak the right language.
Yeah. Do you know what happened when I asked ChatGPT, who's Enio's son?
What did it say?
It told me stuff that I'm a British Nigerian, which drives me crazy, Leslie. I'm British. I'm Nigerian, but let's leave that for a second. I can ignore that. It's fine.
You can, but see, this is why it's so important to control what ChatGPT and Google say about you, because you don't want people to read in, I'm a British Nigerian. You want them to read that you're British. So then that's why it's so important to control the narrative.
You see, everything I saw on AI was what you told AI, Leslie. That's what amazed me the most. That's why ever since I messaged you that night, didn't I? Saying I'm amazed. How do you do that? SEO takes months to seep through to see the results. Whereas Leslie creating a website for me within 2 days. All the the AI tools picked up exactly the word. They picked up the website. I'm like, how does that happen? And
I don't think people realize that right now. So in the past, it's been very, very, very hard to rank your website. competitively, like with big players. Remember how you said that when you started, when the internet came out, you thought it was going to be an equalizer. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
honestly think like right now, this AI visibility is an equalizer because none of the big players have their AI visibility locked in yet. So if you take up this AI visibility now and you build your personal brand and your website and you use the same language that the AI assistants speak, you have a huge advantage right now. And once if you lock yours in first before anybody else locks it in for your keywords or you know what you're known for, that's what we're talking about now is how you help and
Yes.
who you help.
Yes. Now, again, let's come back to our conversation about being famous, because it's all tied together, my friends. It's all tied together, right? But you must understand this simple thing about how visibility translates to the search engines and the search systems, search tools that we have today. You know, so when I spoke to Leslie, I thought you're just joking. It can't be done. But like I say, she's now in 2 days this woman does magic. It's such such visibility magic she does. It's like she doesn't just create a website, which I think they're boring. I keep telling you, Leslie, the website is so boring. But
The
what you
website, you know what? We just started. The website is boring because it has just basic language in it for the computer, for the machines. Now we need to layer on for the human. You know, we have to make it interesting for the human.
yes, yeah, no, for sure. No, but now talking to the machine bits, you definitely have to down to a T. Because like I say, I've never known. I'm a marketer, and this what I was spending years trying to do for my clients. This woman's done overnight, really. And you mentioned something just now, Leslie, which is, you know, being famous today is about a simple thing, my friends. I mentioned kindness. Be kind to the people that you work with, people you're here to serve. Part of being kind is that you solve their problems that they're looking for answers for online. I know what I just said, right? Answer the questions online, and you're being kind to the people you're here to serve. And they will love you for it, and they will click, and they're trying to find you they want to work with you when you can manage that simple bit. Answer the questions, right? Again, this is not rocket science. You see it every day. We all see it, but we seem to not want to be part of it. What Leslie just said is so true. Jonathan's amazing author. So this man got about 50 books. I'm so glad you're here.
50.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, they're different sizes, so they're not, 200-page books each. So again, I think I think he's doing close to what we're saying. He writes some specific topics. Sometimes they're 3 pages, sometimes they're 8 pages, sometimes they're 200, 100 pages. But literally, he answers specific issues. Again, so that's where the future lies, right? You know, I think it requires a belief, Leslie, that we can be at the top of those answers that people get on search, right? you know, and the only way it's going to happen is if you're famous for being the person that creates those answers. Those answers. Yeah, those answers. I can't stop. Look, I feel like going crazy evangelically, but I don't know. I don't need to, right?
You know what? I want to hear if I want to hear from the audience and I want to hear if they did the search and what they found.
Yeah, please ask them away. So Christina says answers need structure. There's a little mess to it. Of course, that's a coding part, the schema part that Leslie does, right? My friends,
Yeah.
have you searched for who is you online? Who is Dr. Roxana? Who's Professor Roxana? What comes up on Google? Who's Jonathan? What comes up? Lisa, what is the search results telling you that, about who you are? Do a search. Be brave. It does take bravery, really. I think it does take serious bravery Dentist, I see you as well. The dentist goes, just say 2 books out already. There's a poetry book that's coming. Dentist, I haven't forgotten that one. So please do a search for yourself. Have you done the search? Leslie, people are very scared to look for themselves.
Is that what's happening? Because I'm waiting for someone in the chat to say that they've done the search and what it said, but I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody doing it.
I'm waiting to. I'm waiting to. Yeah. So Alexis is my WhatsApp. I use it and I work with it. It's glorious. Yes, indeed. I do need to refine it. So one has to keep going back and keep keeping up. But I work with it and have worked behind the scenes, so it's pretty good. And now I use some now, and I'm glad you're doing this. Right, Alexis. It's a mission. I'm on a mission because I have found a secret key to make people famous now and for the next 20 years, as Leslie said. Right now, this is about the next 20 years. And we haven't got time to wait forever. It's like, no, there is a human side of fame which I don't think we can ignore, right? But the human side and technical side blend together. They have to blend together. As we're saying now, being famous is about communicating your uniqueness. It's that unique gift. Think of the people that you call celebrities. Just pick anyone. What you realize is that, like I said, they're kind. They care about the same things that you care about. Or at least that's what they communicate. And they do what they do, whatever that is, whether they sing or dance or act or whatever else they do. They do it in their own unique way. And what they manage to do is communicate that to you, and then we say, "Oh, okay, you're famous." Because we know who you are, we know how you do it, we know almost how you feel, and we know that you truly care about us. We must get people talking about you the same way, because that's the only way that you're going to serve more people. People need to see you as the person, as the business, as the brand who does this in this way. You hear me say many times, my friends, you must have your own unique way of doing things. And there's any way of doing events. There's any way of doing books. There's any way, of being any, which is why I can sit here today and tell you, you have a uniqueness about you. Being famous is about communicating that uniqueness to people. Again, you say, of course, we can use this platform, social media, lives. We can do some posts. I feel like I would love for posts a long time ago. But ultimately, you need to become famous in 2026 and beyond. Random acts of kindness will help, but that's not going to be everything. The tech is there for a reason. Leslie, I know you don't want to bore them with the tech bits, but please feel free.
Well, it's just code. You write the code in the website.
You make it sound easy.
It is. It's easy.
If you're a techie, I guess it's easy, right? If you know what you're doing, by all means, run with it.
I think the hard part, and this is where I think people get stuck. Like, honest to God, the code of the website is the easy part if you know how to do it. Now, I don't expect any of you to know how to do it or to even do it yourselves, but the hard part is actually defining who you are and who you help and how you help them. And I think that's the starting point. So if there's people that aren't famous yet, or if you Google and you don't see what you want to see about what your expertise are and who you can help, then that's the starting point. And once you have that crystal clear in your mind, and once you're communicating that on a regular basis, you'll be able to attract the right people. And it's all about making yourself available to the people that need your help.
Yeah,
so that's,
100%. Like Christina saying that, I'll come to that in a second. Coach Sean, I see you. Hello to you. So for someone like Coach Sean, who clearly has an identifiable brand, he's famous for the work he does. He's famous for his identity disruption, formation, concept and approach, and I guess I don't know what to call it. But he talks about identity all the time, right? Because that's the essence of who we. That's the essence of success in business, really.
Mm-hmm.
We do what we are.
We
We
should
be
get
who we
Sean. We
are.
should tell Sean to. We should get Sean to participate and tell us, why it's so difficult for people to define their own identity or to build their own identity.
Oh, now you're throwing Coach Sean a bone. He may, he may have to, slick his hair first and put his makeup on before he goes to the studio, right?
You know what?
It's
Maybe we can get into it another time because we only have
yeah,
10 minutes left. And
yeah.
so
Which is fine. Say no. There's say I think if you want to join the studio, now's your chance, my friend. Say I'm being kept on the promise not to overrun these days because we don't get paid for overtime, right? And like Christina says, it's not so much about being on top of search results. I say being on top because it's the first thing people see on the results page, Christina. Your answer, right? And it's about being delivered to the right person at the right time, and the right time requires your consistency in blocks of time by topic. Again, I know what Christina is saying there. You can't just answer one question and expect to be the answer to everyone's search query of that topic. You have to be consistent. You have to show up and and answer loads of questions that are related as well, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
you can't just talk about a topic once and expect to be the guru in that topic. You won't.
No.
You have to talk about that topic a lot of times.
A lot of times, and there's a lot of things. And, I talk about how simple it is to actually just put the code on your website, but that's only part of it. That's only part of having like that AI visibility because they look at what you have put out personally, but they're also looking for recommendations from other sources. So, for example, Reddit. The AI assistant will scan Reddit to see who's talking about who. When someone asks a specific question, and if you answer that person's question, then you have a good chance of showing up in the AI answer.
Mm,
But it starts with your website, it starts with basic SEO, search engine optimization. That is the same foundational skills that have been, people have been talking about search engine optimization and the things that you're supposed to do with your website. And that still exists. There is definitely a foundation of search engine optimization that has to be put in there first. And then the AI visibility is like another layer on top. And there's AI visibility is with the code on the website, but it's also about getting your name out there being talked about. So it's your reputation. You're being recommended by the AI
mm,
assistants because other people are talking about you. So they're talking about you on Reddit, they're talking about you on Facebook, they're talking about you on LinkedIn. And there's a whole process of getting your name out to all of these different places.
mm.
That's what being famous is really all about. It's not just one thing.
I say I definitely agree with you 100%. You have to put the work in, like I said earlier, right?
Yeah.
Here's the question. Again, I think this often. Part of me thinks what we're talking about today, Leslie. This answer the question for people to really get value from from the content you share. It's not new. It's been there now. We've known that forever because it's how we search the internet. We don't go online and say, "Tell me about coaching." You say that you ask a question. How much do coaches charge? How do coaches work? Are you with me? So how is what we're doing today in terms of how we show up and being famous differ from that personal branding from years ago?
Well, it's the difference is how much the AI and Google depend on other people's recommendations. That has changed.
Mm,
That is brand new. They're not just like Christina said, it's not about being on top. Like it's not about just coming up first in the SERPs. It's what other people are saying about you. And that's the
yeah.
big difference right now compared to the
Mm.
way that it used to be.
Yeah, again, and those other people, it's not just, it's not, sometimes it's not even real people, right? It's what the tools are saying about you. It's what the tools know about us. People are searching in different ways as well, and they're searching they're searching everywhere, and the sad reality is that if we're not where our audience is searching, we're
The nice thing though is that still Google is the biggest matchmaker by far anywhere on the planet at this stage of the game. It is still Google. So people use Google to search for solutions to their problems more than any other platform.
mm,
It's still number one.
yeah, 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 yeah.
The AI assistance is coming, but it's at the very, very, very beginning stages, and that's why now is such a great opportunity.
Yeah. All right. So Coach Sean had to switch to YouTube. LinkedIn can just crash. My LinkedIn tab just crashes, and there's nothing I can do about that. But as you say, Mr. Coach, it's called answer engine optimization for a reason.
Exactly.
We're looking for answers.
That's another, yeah. One of the other things that we do with the websites, they call it it's the knowledge base. So going deep, deep, deep on one topic or one subject or one solution that you have, answering every question that anybody could possibly ask about that thing, about that solution that they're looking for. We have to cover it all.
Mm, for sure, for sure. As you're talking, I'm thinking, right. We have to answer questions. Yes, of course. I think there's a fundamental. There's a place to start. There's a beginning to all of this, right?
Hmm.
On Google, for example, give me an idea of what it looks like and what it takes to have I guess what I say, famous presence on Google, for example. I know I know what I'm asking you. Really, I'm saying I've got a website. Okay, I've got social media. Someone searches for me in Google. What should they see?
Well,
No.
I mean, this goes back to a strategy. So this goes back to your content strategy on your website. And we call it semantic branching, and we talk about silos, and we talk about the different silos that that the different questions that are answered on your website. So we determine what those categories are. It's like, so a silo is a category. So the first thing that we do is we design a strategy for you and for the solution that you have. And then we branch down and down and down and down and down and down. And that's another reason why now it's so much more possible to produce sites that have all of these answers, because we have the AI to help us. And it can put out the information faster than we ever were able to do it before.
Again, so so when we search for famous people, I guess we know what the results look like, right? I mean, you mentioned knowledge base just now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
how many of us show up in like with a knowledge box with that picture next to the results? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's
Not very much. I mean, yeah, but that's our goal.
mm, if you're really famous, you're all there, and you are the one.
Yeah.
So, but many of us don't realize that we're not even close to being the one for what we do. And this goes back to Christina's point just now, the consistency.
Yeah.
But there's also the whole.
consistency is part of the strategy. There has to be a strategy in place, and then
Right.
consistent effort within the strategy.
Yeah, and the right information, I think.
Absolutely. That's where
I'm
the
saying,
strategy, yeah.
do not, how many of you here have a photo that is your Google, like Google shows in that knowledge box? So not many do, right? So when I search for you, Leslie, of course, there's many different pictures that I saw yesterday. Hence, you're like, where's that picture come from? So so we have to tell the tools, give the tools the cues. Now this is the picture you show them. This is a picture of me. That is my representation today. And from there, and I say then we can design the content. Look, my friends, if no one knows who you are in trouble. Maybe I'm doing just fine right now, and I could just stay on LinkedIn, and I get clients. I publish books every day. I'm publishing another one today, right? But I think if we want real growth, we have to jump off the cliff literally and go and be famous. Again, say I'm lucky to have the two experts that I get to work with, like Christina and Leslie. Really, with the three of us, I think we cover all the bases of what it means to be famous. Really, so my part is, this drive for kindness and true care for your audience, which manifests in many ways. Manifests in showing up for them, being their friend. Anyone who talks to me knows I'll tell them, be their friend. That's my favorite word. Be their friend. It works for Paulette. It works for me every day. It works for other people every day, right? Make real friends. Make genuine friends. Part of me making real friends is that I'm passionate about my friends' problems. And I don't sleep, even though, I don't always have the answer. So when I find people like Leslie who has the answer, I'm not shy. I'm suddenly, a month ago, I didn't talk about AI. I couldn't care less, right? A month ago, I didn't talk about, being visible, because, I talk about relationship marketing. I talk about building relationships and being that person who has kindness in the soul, who has a unique solution. But I think these days we have to go the extra mile. Having the solution is not enough. Serving people with that solution is a key.
Annie, you were asking me about, examples and stuff.
Yeah, please. Give us some examples.
Well, I was just thinking that the audit that I sent you would be a perfect way to show that. And so I am happy to do an audit for everyone's website. If you want to know
Wow.
what
Everyone?
language, yeah, anybody that's here right now, absolutely. If you've got a website and you want to know if it's speaking the same language as Google and ChatGPT, just let me know and I'll do the audit for you and you'll see specifics.
Yeah, no, I mean, you all this now. I say, I guess, it tells you what you have in terms of assets and what you don't have. It's, again, on a simple level, say Leslie will tell you where you have the right schema and the right coding, the right parts of your website, the back end, the bits that the tools read, right? Say, the bits that made my eyes just go, right?
Yeah, but it is visible, so it is a bit easier than this sort of abstract way that we're talking right now. At least they can have something in their hands to
Yeah, no, for
read
sure.
and see.
No, it's very, it's more than useful. It's essential. Look, my friends, if you're brave enough, just say, what do you want them to do? Connect with you, or just put their websites in the chat, and then
Uh, if they're ready to do it right now, put your website in the chat. If you want to connect with me later, you can connect with me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
If you want to check out my website, it's leslie.com.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I actually I
let's
registered that website in April of 1999. That's how long I've been doing this marketing stuff.
yeah, that's right. That's as old as me, nearly. I'm not saying how old you are, Leslie. I'm not saying how old you are. Uh, so is it www.leslie.com, right?
Yeah, or just leslie.com.
Okay. Yeah, I tell you, that's where you know you're famous. How many Leslies are there? Many. How many Leslie.com? Only one. See that's
Yeah,
what fame, right? That's what fame really looks like. And when we can all have that level of fame. Of course we can. I think you can see people on your LinkedIn that I can't see on mine, Leslie. I think.
oh, I'm only looking at the Restream right now. Am I supposed to be looking somewhere else?
Yeah, because now they say
Oh,
LinkedIn and Restream. LinkedIn and the streaming platform they play funny games with each other. They,
oh dear.
sometimes they're just not talking to each other. So
Okay.
my friends, look. I suppose like last couple of minutes. If you got any questions you want us to answer, now's your time. Put your questions in the chat.
Yeah,
But
and LinkedIn is new for me. So I'm doing an experiment, or not really an experiment, because I feel confident that it's going to work, but I did an audit on my LinkedIn profile, and I know exactly what I need to do to improve it. So I'm going to be improving my LinkedIn profile as the weeks go on, and I'll be able to show you how my project is working out. And if anybody wants their LinkedIn profiles audited, I can do that too.
yeah, my friends, be brave, be brave. So that's Leslie's website. And Mr. Levi Rose, I see you. You just popped on my link on my LinkedIn, so welcome.
It's my baby boy.
Really,
Yes.
I suppose I should know. My brain's too slow. You said you actually go to sleep, didn't you? Leslie Rose, Levi Rose. Surprise, surprise, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
No.
uh he's also in marketing.
Get us talking together. Let me meet him.
He has the senior marketing role now at a new company. Actually, he's just in transition. He's going to start his new role in about, well, just less than 2 weeks.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Again, look, I imagine, of course, you have a lot for us to learn from Mr. Levi. So I'd love for us to learn, from people who are doing big things, because one day we will become those big companies. We have to aim for it, right? We have to aim that high.
Levi's the king of email marketing.
Really? Go
Hmm.
on, go on.
Yeah.
Just think, as a team, we have it all covered.
Yeah, exactly.
Levi's thinking, who the hell is he? He doesn't know. No, you don't know Levi. You don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Events are my thing, and LinkedIn is where I spend my life. And it's working. I love to meet you, Levi. I mean that sincerely. I should badger your mother until she caves in and says, "Okay, you can meet him, any fine."
Okay.
I will make him. Look, my friends, so our time has come. Our time has come. I love to keep it like this. We will leave. That lovely dog of yours.
My dog.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing, right? And look, um, do that search for yourself, my friends. Do that search, and if you want to share what you find, if you're concerned, if you're impressed, I'd love to know what you see, right? I will say, thank you for everyone who's turned up today. In business, we must dream big, and dreaming big is not about, it's about taking over the world. It's about serving more people. That's a remit, and to do that, we have to become known as a person who does that. That's what being famous really means. And the question for you is, how are you becoming famous? What's your strategy? If you got it nailed, come and share with us. We'd love to learn from you. Like I just said about Lever, right? If you're struggling again, there's no benefit to burying your head in the sand and trying to play small. You're gonna gain nothing. The world will gain nothing from you. The world will be robbed of your genius, of your solution. That's what makes me do these events, and I'm so glad to be doing this for the next few weeks, next 12 weeks, next 24 weeks, as we said. That's 6 months, right, of my life. But there will be a book at the end of it, Leslie. There will be a book at the end of it, right? And that excites me more than you think. But Leslie, I said I will thank you as well for being a genius, for being a shining light in my life, for being here, right place, right time, right? You know, please, you're on mute. I think you muted yourself. Don't worry.
I'm
We'll do
going
it.
to
We'll do it.
I'm going to put the 3 prompts that we have for people if they need help with their clarity.
Go for
I
it.
guess
Go for it.
I'll put them on my where do you want me to put it?
You just put it in chat on LinkedIn. So that when you
Okay.
put it there, then at least it'll be on the event page. Coach Sean, I think this prompts for someone like you, the people who know they got a presence. Christina, just to have a laugh, Christina, because Christina knows as much as we do about our topic, right? I'm saying, if you know, if you have a who is me response on search, then these are deeper prompts that ask more about what do the AI tools believe you do. How do you go deeper? Who are you? What do you do? How do you help? And also how do people get to work with you? I was surprised when ChatGPT said, do you want me to show you how to copy and replicate any business? I'm like, cheek. But you get the idea, right? I'm saying what we tell the tools, there's always the tools can know more about us. That way we're more than the people's answers. Like I keep saying. We must.
Okay, I put the 3 prompts in.
Excellent, excellent. So I could wait. Wallace, welcome. How are you doing, Wallace? Wallace is my friend. Someone who cares about me. They always ask how am I doing. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to hear. If you miss most of the show, you can always watch the replay. So. Right, my friends, do be brave. Do be brave. Do be brave. This is session 1. Let's leave. How do you want to leave our friends today?
I just want them to do the research and see what ChatGPT and Google are saying about them, and then if they want to consider becoming famous, to join us in this journey over the next 24 weeks.
Yeah. And you want to get famous, my friends. It's not optional anymore, right? Just think of the possibilities.
Yeah, if you have a solution to someone's problem, then you owe it to them to get famous.
You owe it to God to get famous.
Yeah.
Your business is to get famous. Your sole mission in business is to get famous. A lot of people don't stop at just creating the solution. If you don't deliver it to people, then what's the point? It's like writing a book and not publishing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you've written a book, but unless people get to benefit from reading the book, the value is down the pan.
And writing a book is so important to your personal brand.
Yeah, again, every day I realize more and more. Someone asked me yesterday, why do people still write books? Do people still read books? I'm like, of course they do. Again, I think it's a way that we be these days, Leslie, right? Whether it's a book, whether it's online, if we focus on forever answering questions, we can't go wrong. Right. So my next book is about answering. The question is, how do I become unstuck? Then after that, is this book that we're writing based on these lives. Getting to famous on purpose. That book is very important. It's important to me. Because I think I want us to answer the question: how do I get famous? Why should I get famous? How do I get famous? What's the challenges? What what's here to help us today? You can see where I'm going with this, right? And I got this vision of almost lifting sections of the book online.
Yeah.
I say, here's the answer to your question. And that's a book is where the secrets of the world are written and held. So writing your book will be a helpful thing, my friends. If you've written it, you haven't published it, let's talk. And look, it's more than just publishing your book. Now, this is the point, Leslie. I think we need to sell those books.
Yeah.
So I've set myself the goal of selling 5,000 books for each of my authors at least.
Yeah.
5,000 plus, right? To do that, I need you to get famous. I need you to do the work to become known, to deliver what we're saying. Go big for your ideal clients. Look, my friends, join us again in 2 Wednesdays' time. If you know me well enough, and in between this, there will be my being your authentic self in business room. But Ennis on a mission again. Yay! Thanks to Leslie, and thanks to Christina as well. So we will do what we do. Look, connect with Christina. Be brave enough to send your questions. If you want me to help you connect, let me know. Just DM me and say, start a group chat with me and Christina, please. Just put in the comment section. I'll see it because I'll get notified, and then I will just start a group chat with you and let you have the conversation. If you do want that website audit, please do let us know. Just again, put in the chat.
Yeah, if you're curious.
Put in the chat. Just put your website.
You want your website to work as hard as you do.
Yeah, the problem is that most people don't have a clue that websites can work.
Yeah.
They where I was 2 weeks ago, Leslie, when I said to you, I don't believe in websites. I don't believe in websites anymore. They don't work. My friends, I was wrong. Websites.
The audit is a real eye opener.
It really is. It's. Well, I can tell you what the audit's saying. Leslie, I'll be honest with them before we go, right? Because I can say that today, right? Look, your website does not have the coding to talk to the machines. That's the truth. I think that's the long and short of it. Yeah.
I've done probably 50 or 60 now audits in the last 9 weeks. And I think only one of the websites that I audited actually had the proper schema.
Yes. No, you see, that's revealing. I think that's when we realize that it's a shocker. It's a real shocker because I don't think we can't blame web developers because you're paying them peanuts to develop a website. That's
the technology is new too.
Right. So my web designer, they done what I asked them to do. There was never any thought of the coding behind it. The schema. What's that? Right. I'm saying, we'll talk more about these things as the weeks go on, my friends.
Yeah.
But do enjoy your Wednesday. It's still Wednesday, right? It is.
Bye, everybody. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
And he sees you. He sees you. He sees you. From the children with no voice in borrowed rooms to the magazines that carry their truth. 25 years of the same steady hand, finding the ones who fell through the cracks of the plan. From Mitcham to Croydon,